Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to this AWC preview and writing update live stream. My name is Margaret Pinard, and I'm a historical fiction and fantasy author. And if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, all those words are just without meaning until now. Let me fill you in. So the AWC stands for AuthorTube Writing Conference, which is coming up in just 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. Anyway, the 28th, and it's the 9th. So 3 weeks, yes. And it's a virtual conference. It's all on YouTube, and it consists of a bunch of people who are writers talking about their experiences writing and publishing, giving their best tips and presentations so that all the other people out there watching can benefit from this for free. So it highly values and prioritizes accessibility and author community goodness. So hopefully you will attend in a few weeks and get to know a few new writers whose books you may like and whose tips may help you. Now, I am a co-chair of this affair along with Shannon S.T. Houston in the comments in the chat. And I'm going to be giving a presentation, session 10 on Saturday. And that means I'm boiling down the details as we get closer and closer, right? Trying to get slides or graphics. I was working on my thumbnail earlier and trying to get those things sort of nailed down at the moment. And I can show you a little preview. Colors help me nail these things down. So I've got, moving parts and big colors and trying to get my ideas into a good flow for people to understand and relate and really take in the message. What is the message? Well, my presentation is going to be on a writing process thing. So that is different. It's going to be about how you know when you should be stopping research and starting writing. So obviously this hits a little close to home. And so I'll be talking about something that basically I'm learning through doing. And I love research. I'm sure you catch a lot of the books that I review that are research books practically every month. The one right now that I've got on interlibrary loan is the Diaries of Francis Place, who is a chartist, and these are his early diaries. So this is for the current work in progress. So I'll be talking about my experience researching and writing and how you know when to flip from one to the other, whether you're procrastinating when you're researching or whether you're writing without being fully prepared and you actually need to go back to the drawing table and do some more research. So stay tuned for that, Saturday, session 10. And when I said writing process was new to me, I don't mean that writing is new to me, of course. But in the previous iterations of the AWC, I did one on business, how to organize community events for authors. And I did one for publishing, which was choose your own adventure in the publishing landscape and all the decisions you have to make. And so this one that's on writing is really actually a little scarier for me because it gets at things that are very subjective and things that are very personal. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the background for that today in my writing update. But if you have questions about it as we're going, pop them in the chat. And now I'll say hello to the chat. So we've got Shannon, who is here first, saying hi, and she made friends with the like button. Much appreciated. Liking that helps the stream. We've got just Eva, who I saw earlier today on the Writer's Block panel, which was awesome. So glad to see you again. JD Estrada, hello. Cheers on this Sunday. Looking lovely and then some. Thank you. Thank you. And yes, Shannon says, hard to stop researching when you love it so much. It's true. It's true. And part of the thing that I'm highlighting in the presentation is going to be like knowing yourself and like not kidding yourself. So again, highly personal. So there we go. We've got Sky S.T. Haggis coming in, popping in while updating things to say hi. Sky was on the panel earlier today. That was so awesome. So lovely to see you. We've got an Esther Marie Andujar. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning. Good morning. Shannon really loved the Choose Your Own Adventure. Yeah, I did make it fun with all my funny backgrounds. We'll see if I can pull something out of my sleeve for the format excitement this year. We got a Mad World. Hello, hello. Just got the grasping root in the mail today. Oh, exciting. Likely be August when I get to it. Excellent. That is number 2 in the trilogy. So actually, I just shared Leslie's review of the grasping root. She just put out her spoiler review. She has a non-spoiler and a spoiler, and today was the longer spoiler review. So I shared that on Twitter if you're curious. We've got a Jocelyn Carter in the house. Happy Sunday. I love the emojis as always. And Shannon, Jocelyn, Esther, everyone's saying hello. Author community, writer community, Booktube community. Gotta love it. So that's the AWC preview part. And I hope you'll join. All of us in the chat are probably already familiar and have it marked on our calendars for June 28th, 29th, and 30th. It'll be a lot of fun with happy hours and socializing and all the different topics. So definitely check out the schedule on authortubewritingconference.com and mark the ones that you definitely don't want to miss. And Shannon's got me with the link here. Oh, no, that's mine. authortubewritingconference.com, though. So that's pretty easy. And Sky's updates are complete. Woohoo! The SD twins. I love it. SD Hagas, SD Houston. Love it. I was excited for the AWC. Yes. So we've had various sort of things running up, and I think we've got some good energy and some good excitement. A lot more sort of resource dissemination and sort of educating people as we come along. So I think it's going to be pretty smooth, knocking on wood. So yes, very excited for that. And then the writing update. Okay, so, and this is like the scarier topic. So this is why I have background music to like support myself talking through this. But basically, writing update. What am I writing now? Well, I don't have a notebook to point to because I did not write this one by hand like JD likes to do. This one is going direct in Scrivener because I have a new Scrivener version and it's not going to trip me up when I format. And I'm writing a second draft at the moment. So if you are on my Patreon, you'll see I'm talking about that a little bit. I'm a little behind on the newsletter. I don't think I've sent one in 2 months, but I've talked about second draft a little bit in there and how that has come to be because it sort of went into hibernation and is coming back. And so that's part of why I'm choosing to do my presentation about this. And also like, I want this to be a good reminder of like what we've been through and how we can power through the good stuff again. So, for context, for anyone who doesn't know my books, the last time I published something was the fall of 2022. That was a short story collection. And it was fantasy and it was historical and it was time travel. And it was just a big grab bag of like all the ideas that had popped up and sort of been mushroom ideas, like Diana Gabaldon calls them. But we're going to grow into novel-length things. They were just fun experiments. And I put that out because I've never done a short story collection. I thought that would be good to try. So my previous mode of publishing has really been experiment, put it out there, see what happens. And somewhere in this pandemic mess, I sort of got out of that mindset because I felt the weight of 10 years of doing this. And like, it's not a groove. It's still difficult. It's still changing every time. Why is this not like working for me, you know? And so I sort of did a pivot and was trying to figure out like, how can I get back to the novels that are really satisfying and I really, you know, can promote and can feel proud of and not just do it as an experiment and feel a little dissociated. So if it fails, it's not a big deal. You know what I'm talking about, right? And so the last novel I published was the fall of 2019. That was Stormrack and Spindrift, the third in the trilogy. So if I wanted to get back to that, and we're in 2024 now, I know it's hard to keep that in your head, but that's 5 years. How do I get back into that sort of flow? So here's a partial list of things that have got in my way of getting into that flow. And then don't worry, I'll return back to like what I'm doing now to write. So since fall of 2019, there's losing a job. There's starting a new job. pandemic uncertainty, choosing a new idea, crushes, dating uncertainty, breakups, loneliness, depression, TikTok obsession, neck pain, feeling useless, doubt and regret about decisions, feeling unworthy. This is sort of the mix that I'm dealing with. You'll notice that like chronic illness doesn't play a part. And, there's lots of big things that have derailed people in this community and that are things I'm aware of. And so I feel very privileged that this is the list I have to work with. Most people have this and more. But I'm just being honest. These are the things that have sort of gotten my way of focusing, concentrating, making and sticking to a habit and being happy with it, So, in the course of all these things, I've put several projects in the drawer. You might remember that I was working on a Chicago novel. I went to Chicago. I did some really fun research there, and I really wanted to do something around the World's Fair of 1893, and I had a bunch of books. I just decluttered a bunch of those books because it's not the project, and I let go of it, and I think that's like healthy. And we've gone ups and downs with things, but I am now second drafting on a work in progress that has me excited, and I'm reading a book that is affirming that excitement and that commitment and that uneven sort of process. And so I thought I'd just tell you about that. I'll also be writing about this for the Patreon blog and probably putting it in the newsletter in a written form in more detail later. But here's the brainstorm that I spit out. I'm going to call it my unroutine, right? So when we were talking about blocks in the panel, when I was just in the chat earlier this morning, people were talking about having a routine or being a person who doesn't agree with routine. I am in the latter camp. So my unroutine for exercise as well as for writing looks like a mid-range goal. So it's not huge. It's not the novel itself at the end of the road, because then I wouldn't know where to start. But it's also not so rigid that it's every day I have to get so many words, right? So what I do for exercise is I have a 20-mile like minimum goal per week. So that could be 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. It could be a little bit. It could be 2 days off. Whatever comes up, it gives me a lot of flexibility to choose how to add up to 20 miles. I could run some, I could walk some, whatever, right? And so that gives my brain the feeling of freedom, which apparently it needs. And but then I also get the reward at the end of the week when I actually meet it, because it's a doable goal. It's a reasonable goal. And so with writing, what I've been doing to get me into that since May, sort of the end of May. Yeah, I'm not going to untape it. I taped a calendar down. You could sort of see it here on my secretary drawer, with like the days that I thought I might work on the manuscript, and sort of gave myself 30 to 60 minutes of like, just do whatever you can in 30 to 60 minutes of attention writing, not diddling away other things. And I didn't do on the days that I scheduled. Of course, I did it on days where I had a live stream or whatever. So I switched the plan, but that was the plan. That's the unroutine. That's the magic of my unroutine. Is that, I'm doing it 3 to 5 times a week, which is, if I get 500 words, if I get 800 words, if I get 1,000 words, that adds up. And that's all I want is progress. When I looked at in May, when I looked at the June goals, when I was writing out my planner, that's my planner here, I thought, I haven't done monthly goals in a long time. I think I'm ready to come back to that. And I was like, well, okay, I need to aim for something and not just give myself too much time. So that was when I decided on that mid-range goal with freedom of like so many work sessions, because that'll eventually get me to where I can see the end, and then I can start scheduling the next phase, which is, okay, who am I going to ask to edit? How long of a lead time do they need? All this kinds of stuff. And that's what I'm looking out for in a couple months. So that's the exciting thing. I was in a good enough frame of mind in May that I could think about those things. So that's my unroutine. And then I have one more like piece that's going to reflect a little bit on this, but I saw some chat going on. So let me go back and visit so I don't leave people out. I missed a lot. Okay. Let's see. Shannon saying, thank you, Sky. Was just getting in there for updates and saw updates were being done, so backed out. I had one little thing that I put on the Discord. Yeah. He was saying hi and hi and hi. Shannon putting the actual link in there in case anyone doesn't remember the spelling. Yeah, Katie was a 5-star read. Oh, I'm excited. Excited to hear you like grasping root. Shannon says, awesome. Love Margaret's writing. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. Eva commenting on my partial list. The last 4 years have been 4 lifetimes. 5 years. Yeah, since the last novel. The last 4 weeks have been a year for JD. Oh, I feel that. I feel that. Eva says being in 2024 is offensive. I mean, the last 5 years have pretty much had that feeling, I think. Love the list. A very human list, says Esther. Yeah. Eva says, I share many of them, but have some of my own. Yes. Yes. As I was acknowledging. Mad World says, I really purchased books, took a chance with Margaret, and was thrilled with the writing and the story. That's fantastic. I appreciate that chance for sure. So Anita came in, AF Stewart saying, hey, hey, hey. I'm saying that. She's just saying hi. And Eva saying, I got stopped by life before the end and have to refresh, but I was thoroughly enjoying the Keening in January. No spoilers, but also, yes, Margaret is very impressive. Well, I think. Eva says unroutine. Love it. Adopting this term. Yeah, I just thought of it this morning and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go with that. Let's see. I just sort of like feel it out. Like a lot of people were saying this morning, it's just sort of what works for you. How do you feel that you're making progress, right? And that totally resonates with me. I used to be weirded out when I first saw people who I worked at a bakery early on in Portland, and they would come in to the bakery, and in order to make a decision on which pastry, they would have a crystal that was like waving, and whichever way it waved or wobbled or whatever, they would use that to make a decision. And I was thinking about that today going, you know, I was sort of taken aback by that 5, 6, 7 years ago, but you know, if decisions are really, really hard for you, use your tools. I'm not going to knock it. Sky, I have an ever-changing routine. Lol, yep. That's fun. Feels like a game. Yeah. Just like shifting. Kind of like, I don't know, those games when things rain down and you have to like catch it, which is kind of like Pong, I guess. Advanced Pong. JC is in the chat. JC Carpenter, hey. Hello, everyone. Feels like forever since I've seen you. She's got a couple good updates up, and yeah, keep on cranking with those vlogs and goals. I love it. Life does have a way of getting in the way of reading. Yes. Jocelyn says, I plan writing, but life may have other plans. The first half of this year has presented many twists and turns. For sure. Yep. And then we're chatting back and forth. Eva says, didn't pick up another book to read until June. But now we're going with popsicles because it's June, right? Eloise is here, swinging by to say hi and to express how excited I am for AWC. Yay! Eloise was a first-time performer on last night's karaoke, which was amazing and fun. And I think most of the people in the chat were there. So I'm so happy that is a good stress reliever for a lot of us. It's just so much fun. And if you're curious, you can always like ping me on the community tab to know when the next one is coming up and who's going to host between Barrett and me. Eva says, years keep doing this to me too. Yes. Sky says, my writing routine revolves around all the family things. Yep. Valid. We're saying, hey. And Jim came in to say, hey, y'all, from Georgia. Eva says, I'm excited to try my new unroutine this week. Excellent. Shannon says, I'm doing well, excited for the AWC, then a family trip in July. First family trip since the youngest kid was born 11 years ago. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. Hope you have a fantastic time. Me too. You deserve a vacation. Do you ever? There, Task. You gotta make it fun, right? Pendulum. Thank you. Crystal pendulum. That's probably a better word. Thank you. Okay, I think I got everyone and I'm caught up. Oh, we have the Writing Sisters. How's it going? Also on the panel this morning, beautiful people giving their experiences. Okay, so I'm caught up with the chat. So I'm just gonna finish out this writing update, which is basically explaining how I've got a new routine and how it's working well, and I don't want to jinx it by a good motivator that happened this past week, Sunday. So this happened Thursday. So if y'all don't know, I really love the Maisie Dobbs series. It's by Jacqueline Winspear. The last book just came out. It's 18 books in a historical mystery series that really sort of goes beyond historical mystery. I would not call it cozy, though the people next to me that I talked to did. No. It's more of historical mystery with psychological suspense. The protagonist grows through the whole series, and one of the ways she shows that is with investigating her own traumas and sort of realizing how things in her life are resonating, whether it's personal life or whether it's the crime she's investigating or whether it's the war that is brewing. And so there's a lot of different circles at play. And I just thought that was a really beautiful way to arrange this. And the interior work that she does just felt so valuable to me as a character that's presented on the page. So I went to this event, and it was a local independent bookstore, and I bought the book to go to the event because not everyone can have Jacqueline Winspear show up. And one of the things she said was that her writing has always been about her main interests in life, things she was curious about since childhood. And one of those things was war, because in her family, war had a big effect, both World War I on her grandfather and World War II on her mother specifically, and women. And as a child, she noticed that there were all these older women around who didn't have partners, but they had portraits of the men in their life who had died from the war. And so she was just women's role in wartime, and how does that affect people, and how did that affect the nation, and how did women affect the nation, and how has their role changed? And so all these sort of things that she's constantly interrogating and investigating and interested in. And so for me, in many aspects of my life, the curiosity is what drives me. And so I was like, do I have that? Do I have one of those main touchstones like Jacqueline Winspear does? And I thought about that immediately when I came home, because I was really moved by a central tenet or a central theme of her work that spoke to me, even though it wasn't my central theme. So I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I think I do. So if you've read my books, I want to hear what you think my main theme might be. So guess mine if you've read my books. I'll just leave that for the comments for a few minutes. But this touchstone idea I really liked. And I wonder if any of the other writers watching have thought about this in that way, have thought about framing their writing or their urge to write in general as motivated by or sparked by something in particular that has stayed with them over the years. Because I'm sure we've got creative sparks or, rabbit holes that we go down on individual ideas. But something that is always compelling, and you'll pick it up to read, for example, or you'll always sort of research this year in, year out, because it's just a fascinating thing and you haven't quite figured it out. Or you have ideas, but you're always looking for more information. So writers, tell me if you have those, and readers, tell me if you can guess mine. So to bring it back to the writing habit and where we are on the update, I still have 3 part-time jobs. I'm still life is all over the place, but oh, and I also started a volunteer opportunity. So every Monday I go to the farm. That's an 8-hour full day thing. It's an hour down, an hour back, and I'm usually there for 6 hours or more. So that's been a fun new thing in the last month. I'm also still dating. So some of this partial list will, potentially get in the way again, the crushing and the disappointments and the breakups or whatever. And I'm also still mood managing. I am very conscious of the fact that when I wake up in the morning, when I'm chilling in the evening, I live alone, just with the cat, who is on the footrest. There we go. Like, I'm constantly sort of using that pendulum, that virtual or metaphorical pendulum, to sense, where am I on this up and down scale? Do I need to act to change where I am? Do I need to rest? Do I need to listen to the same song over and over again and sort of feel something and get it out? Do I need to read to clear my mind? There's all these tools and methods and things that I've accumulated. Some of them are on a list on the wall. And, I'm doing my best to manage this very human list of things that we're all dealing with, so that my unroutine still has room to exist and feel supported. So, writing update is good. It's positive. Let's see if we have any answers in the comments. This is always the hard part, waiting for the lag and people to think about a thing. And I think he's answering the writing sisters rather than my question. Yeah, writing consistently. JC says that's an interesting question. I think, I haven't read your most recent release, but the two that I have, I definitely have an idea for JC's sort of central theme and tenet. I think it's interesting. Yeah, very fascinating topic. I'm not quite certain how to answer that question. I think the term is Roman Empire. Yeah. Is that what it's being called these days? Perhaps, the thing that you think about regularly and wonder about. But for writers specifically, the thing that always comes up in your work, and you can just see that it's shaped this person and their life in their writing. Shannon says, writing fantasy was an escape from real life in my childhood. After that, it has been integral to my mental health. If I don't write for a while, I spiral into deeper depressive states. Is there an element in the fantasy? I know that your most recent series was actually related to something you were experiencing in the moment, the actual pain. So, I don't know if that's a central tenet, though. I don't think so. It might be something different. I can think of something else for Shannon too. Eva says, got distracted. What's the answer? It's an answer for you. So the question for writers is, do you have a central theme that is always coming up or has started your urge to write your whole life? Like the one that I talked about from Jacqueline Winspear. Or for readers, do you know what my theme is based on the books that you've read by me? So that's the fun other question. Yeah. Anita says, I'm always interested in true crime and often fall down the mythology rabbit hole. Interesting. I wonder if those are connected. True crime. So how people's baser natures win, and the mythology rabbit hole. I don't know. Some of those old gods are pretty base nature. So maybe it's the interaction of our better sides and our worse sides. I don't know. Totally misunderstood the question. Oh, okay. I thought I phrased it rather clearly, but clearly the messenger, yes. I don't want to state anybody's on the air because I think it's a personal thing. The fact that I'm talking about it now is scary when I was talking about writing process, so I don't want to put anyone on blast. The things I see consistent in my writing are damaging familial relationships and the need to feel that sense of belonging. There we go. See, Shannon's going to volunteer as the guinea pig. Yes, That's solid, because that's something that like you're wondering about since childhood, you've experienced, you're interrogating in different genres, different forms. I'm sure when you were writing, personal essays, or, some of your newsletters maybe, although I haven't seen it in your newsletters. Those are lighter in topic usually. But yeah, it just keeps coming up because it's something that you're working out for yourself, or that you want other people to know about because it's important. The sense of belonging. That hits with me too. Eva says, my theme is often family, even before I knew it. That's totally valid, because yeah, we don't know. It's just like therapy. We don't know we're doing the thing until someone else points it out. My love of characters finding a path in life they didn't think they could have. That's my theme. So like breaking out of the box and like expanding your worldview. I love it. That's cool. Oh, we got some answers. I'm going to star these for later. Maybe I'll come back. Your themes are perhaps cultural. Culture is your driving force? I don't know. Interesting. Nina says, true crime fuels the horror writing and mythology feeds the fantasy side. I mean, like a step deeper. Like what's behind both of those, I think. Because then what's fueling the poetry and like what's fueling the historical fantasy? There's lots of like fields. That's what I mean. That's why I don't want to call anyone out. Is like it's a personal thing, and you may have to reflect. You may not know. It may be like very. That's why I've been talking about this 10 years wait thing and like really kind of touching base with why I started. We've got D, Sky Winter Books. Hi, friends. Hello, hello. And Anita says, I like exploring the creepy side of things and how darker natures tip. There you go. There you go. I like it. I think that's pretty ever flowing. Like it's going to like consistently call out to very different genres. Yeah. Sky says, I think it's found family, strong friendships, and the morals and ethics of people, how things are not always black and white. So you were mentioning this morning how you plot to kill people who are bad and deserve it. So I could definitely hear like the morals and ethics of people. And I'm curious now about the not black and white, because yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, see, we're getting into the question now. We're like digesting it. This is the good part. Lucy says, I think my theme would probably be childhood trauma, bad mother-daughter relationship. I hear that. Yeah. Yep. I was gonna like mush that over a little bit more into like betrayal and trust, which I think is probably under these headings as well. Shannon says, I also found that I tend to have a lot of close sister or sister-like relationships. Never had a sister or someone like that in my life, so wish fulfillment. Yeah, that's like a whole side thing I hadn't thought of, that instead of something that we're wondering about and how it affects, there could be a thing where we've seen it and we want it, and so we're constantly constructing that for ourselves as wish fulfillment. I like that too. JC says, I think I always interject a good father-daughter relationship in my writing because I didn't have a father, so it's kind of always what I wished mine could have been. Okay, so we're connecting back to the last comment. I don't know if you did it on that or like had the thought at the same time. Yeah. Eva says, I focus on father relationships, but they're often positive, more than I realized. I've not had a father. That kind of depth. I think this is responding to when I was talking to Sky. But it also relates back to like the wish fulfillment thing, because if you're constructing a thing in fiction that you like want for yourself and it's helping you heal, then that's deep, man. That's deep. Yes. Anita says, it's also interesting how mythologies cross cultures and where they don't, right? Like what things are part of human nature and what things are really culturally different and significant. Ooh, Ooh. Eva's calling out JC. Tomorrow's her birthday. June 10th. Yay. Happy early birthday. Yeah, Margaret, that too. The trust thing for sure. Eva says, just like I've not ever traveled to another realm, I've never had a father. Wish fulfillment or true fiction. I don't know what you mean by true fiction there, but I think that may be just part of like the previous comment. How I relate to that. Happy early birthday, JC. Yay. I tried scrolling back up, but I'm still confused. What are we discussing? It's not in the chat, and I didn't make a banner for it. So I will post it as the first comment when we wrap up so that anyone who watches this on the replay will catch the gist. But I had sort of a revelation after an author event I went to last week and thought about the touchstones and like sort of the reason that I'm writing and compared it to another person's experience and wondered what mine was. Because she said she's basically thought about war and women's role. And I thought, oh, what are my sort of like tent poles or touchstones? So I was asking people if they had them for themselves or could see them in my work. So that's what we were discussing. More of the former, because I think we have more writers than readers of my work in the chat. But there is some crossover. Yeah, what's kind of your trademark? Still trying to figure that out. I think a lot of us may have read Sky's books or the previous pen names books. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is like a panel that we should do after the AWC to like talk about everyone who's read everyone else's books and be like, what about this? What about this? Because that feels so affirming to be like, I see you, you know, like if you're writing and you don't know what that element is, which is how I wrote the first 2 books, at least that I wrote, to have someone mention it to you is kind of like, you didn't see it first and someone else saw it and you just feel validated, you know? So if we had like a round robin of this all going on, like it would be a little chaotic for me, but I think that would be so affirming. So let me know if you guys want to do this. We could do it after the AWC. We got some more happy birthdays. Hey, there's Sky. We've got 2 SDs and 2 Skies. Wow, it's a little confusing in the chat. Yeah. And then Sky says, I feel like this would make a great video for those who already know, or panel for those who don't. Yeah. Thought twinsies. Yes. The lag, you're catching up. I'm saying the thing that you were saying like a few minutes ago. Yeah. So yeah, let me know. Yeah, Sky is the common denominator. Little dance. Just affirmations, right? Oh, what are we gasping about? I don't know. And it would make it. Sky transcends all. Yeah. I agree with that panel. All right. We saw it here. We saw it happen. So, I don't know, message me in Discord and we'll start a direct message thread with everyone on it. I'll just keep adding people. One of you earliest. Sky. Oh, wow. Cool. I'd enjoy the panel. Great video idea. Yes, writing that down. Sky. SD is the OG Sky. Yes, the original gangsta. Yeah. Well, that is my writing update. We're knocking on wood. We're not jinxing it. We're crossing our fingers. We're addressing as many of the terrible, no good, very bad things on the list that we can in the ways that we can, giving grace to ourselves when we cannot, and like constantly recalibrating, rebalancing, sensing, dropping in to feel what we can do. And if we can't do anything, that's okay too. It's okay to take a break. So, and in that vein, be kind to yourselves as well, all you writers and readers out there. I hope to see you at the AWC, where I'll talk a little bit more about this, but also a lot more on the research end and like the technical details of researching. And yeah, so let's chat more about this topic in the Discord or Twitter. You see, you're not in Discord? Come on. You are, right? Anyway, so that's a lovely thread to follow. But take care of yourselves, touch base, answer the questions below if you're watching this on the replay. And I will see you on Sundays and Wednesdays and somewhere on the Ethernet soon. Love you guys. Bye, and see you soon.